Louise Upston.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. Unlike the previous member that has just spoken, I actually don't think there's too much disagreement in this House this afternoon. The fact that we are standing here discussing an issue when there is a group of girls who deserved better than they got. But they deserved better than they got from a wide range of people and organisations. In the first part, and I do agree with the member who just resumed her seat, it was the boys who actually took these actions in the first place that deserve the greatest criticism. And I haven't heard that enough in this House, because every New Zealand girl deserves to be safe. And the fact that we have boys that think that that kind of behaviour is acceptable is exactly what we as a parliament and as a country and as a society and families need to deal with first. This debate today, however, Mr Speaker, is about the report that the IPCA have delivered. And there is no disagreement in this House that that report is tragic reading, because those girls were failed. There is no disputing that. But I do dispute the fact that actually, for the first time in this Parliament's history, it was the Minister of Police who requested that IPCA investigate. I think that, Mr Speaker, says it all. And the comments in the House from the former Minister of Police and the current Minister of Police, I think, say it all in terms of how frustrating and how disappointing it is to read a report like we have today. But I think, Mr Speaker, in the wider context of this, it is important that we don't go so far as with this for the New Zealand public to be left with a view that the New Zealand police are failing us, because I do not believe that that is the case. There have been some significant findings in this case that absolutely must be addressed. There have also been some learnings that have already started to be addressed by this government. And I can say, Mr Speaker, as the person who stood out in the forecourt here in Parliament, who received the petition that Jesse Humes had organised with over 110,000 signatures, it was actually the behaviour of those boys and their view that they could get away with it was why there was that level of outrage and disgust from one end of the country to the other. And that is what we as a Parliament have to address. Now, I'm not going to speak specifically about the actions that will come out of this for the police to address, but I have absolutely no doubt, Mr Speaker, that the Commissioner is very clear about the views of how important that is. So the previous member said that this government's done nothing. Well, that is absolute rot. That is absolute rot. And Mr Speaker, I want to take a minute to go through some of the things that we have actually done as a result, because I do not want that misstatement to be left in this space. You did. The former Speaker, Mr Speaker, did say that we had not taken action. So there's been additional funding into rape prevention. The Minister of Development put 10.4 million into specialist sexual violence services. ACC launched their Mates and Dates program. A New Zealand sexual violence primary prevention strategy is being developed. The Minister of Justice has pressed the button to make the Law Commission work on proposals to improve the victim's court experience a high priority. There's specialist restorative justice services for sexual violence cases. There is an endless list of work that has taken place because of the concerns around making sure we protect victims of sexual violence. Mr Speaker, it is unacceptable It is unacceptable for girls in this country to be valued any less than anyone else. And the fact that this action has taken place has demonstrated some of that, and it is intolerable.
The member's time. I call Porter Williams.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. What do victims